Amy Williams. She's here with the topic, The Entrepreneur's Unfiltered Truth. Is small business ownership right for you? Amy is the founder of Self-Employment Consulting. She has worked with hundreds and hundreds of entrepreneurs, and we're so delighted to have Amy with us today. So, Amy, over to you.
Thank you so much. I feel so honored to be here. I'm trying to figure it out so I can see some of you or without getting all nervous. um, anyway, yeah, great to see you. I am very nervous. That's why I wore this kind of high neck dress because I tend to get really red. But yeah, I'm very honored to be here with you. I see some friends from like Constance from Mountain Ute Tribe, Peter from Alaska. I see a bunch of people from Colorado on Mall and um, other people. So New Mexico and yeah, I'm fortunate. I get to work with about 8 different agencies right now on vocational rehab agencies. And I get to work with about 250 disabled entrepreneurs every year. So it is absolutely my passion. Um, I started working at age 11 and I was in a fairly poor household. So I started working at age 11. Um, I faced some difficulties during my teenage years, was homeless, had a bunch of challenges. Um, and then let's see, I worked at a bank and worked my way up to loan officer. So I was able to teach school children about economics, which I loved. So everything in my life set me up for this work, which it doesn't feel like work to me. In fact, I'm just so happy to be paid. I mean, I'm just like, wow, this is so fun for me every day, and I get paid. So that's wonderful. And I like to think that I'm making a difference with what I'm doing with all of you. So I know there's counselors here, there's clients here, potential entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs. So thank you. Um, I was in a car accident when I was 25 years old, and I started having spine surgeries around 28 years old. I ended up, I think I've had about 28 major surgeries. So asleep for at least half an hour, and then maybe 50 or 60 smaller procedures. Um, so I've definitely faced some health challenges, not just the spine, but different areas of my body. I felt like self-employment was the best fit for me. So I was 27 when I started a software development company. I was able to work from home and in an office nearby. So that accommodated my pain, my spine, and my other disabilities. I sold that business after 7 years. And then I trained to become a massage therapist. So I ran that one for 12 years. I did start and run a nonprofit. This is my 7th business where I'm just all in, providing services related to disability entrepreneurship. So I was connected with, I live in San Diego, California now, but I lived here previously, and I was in the middle of a bunch of spine surgeries. I couldn't work for about a year and a half, and I had myself and 3 kids to support. So I had to put everything on my credit cards, work a $10 an hour job when I could, and then just try to make it. I applied for Social Security disability based on a recommendation from my primary care provider. And then that attorney recommended that I reach out to Voc Rehab, which I didn't even know there was a resource like that. So I'm amazed and so excited every day about what our country does as far as vocational rehabilitation that includes entrepreneurship. I work with Canada and Ireland as well. And they offer competitive employment, helping people get a job, education in order to get a job, but they don't necessarily believe that if you have a disability, you can become a successful entrepreneur. So I'm trying to help work with people there to help change the mindset. But we are very lucky in this country to have our taxpayer money pay for services from Voc Rehab. Um, yeah, so I got connected with Department of Rehab here in California, and they did help me. I ended up, my disability attorney, we had to appeal the disability SSDI. I did get approved for that, but I was on Medicaid and spending a whole bunch of time just proving I was disabled. Um, so once I actually was able to start a business and work my way up, make more money, I mean, I feel proud to say, I can pay $1,300 a month and afford it right now. I don't need the health care deduction anymore. So it was a mindset that I had to change, actually, from spending all this time proving I was disabled to, hey, I can make some really good money, and be self-employed and be kind of disabled. I guess I do go salsa dancing now again and stuff. So I don't necessarily consider myself disabled, except for I do have ADHD. So I was diagnosed with that about 3 years ago. So if you see me like moving a lot, it's just the hyperactivity. So anyway, yeah, I've had this struggle that a lot of your participants or you as perhaps a disabled entrepreneur have had. I've lived it. I've lived through pain and depression. Like, what am I going to do now with my life? So I just feel so lucky to be in this position to work with groups of you in classes, or also individually when I do a feasibility assessment, or we make a business plan, or I do business coaching. So it's absolutely my passion to work with the participants. And my other passion is also working with the counselors. So developing a good relationship. I try to meet your needs as counselors as much as I can. Um, Sometimes we disagree, but we talk about it. So anyway, those are my favorite two things about this work. It's actually working with someone to break down what is the business, can I do it, is it feasible, and then also with the my colleagues, the counselors, or you guys hire me. So anyway, but anyway, I think that I will go ahead and start wearing wearing my hats. Oh yeah, I forgot. Sorry. I was gonna ask you all, what is your biggest fear about starting a business if you're thinking about starting it? So I would love to hear some answers from you. I think Laura will probably be. Um, let's see. Okay. So not making enough money, failing. Hmm. Let's see. I'm just looking at those other chats. Legalities, that's a good point. So let's see. Funding, handling the financial issues. Oh, biggest fear will require too much time. Oh, wearing all the hats. Oh, yay. So I'm going to try to put all the hats on later and you'll see if I can handle it. Health insurance. Okay. So, okay. Thank you. So, okay, that's given me a lot of different things to discuss. So, definitely wearing all the hats. I mean, we're going to go through like kind of one at a time. I have about 12. I actually made two-sided crowns for you all. So, I'm going to close that so I'm not getting too distracted over here. But yeah, so the funding, that funding question, yes, let's see. I'm not sure. Peter, hi, Peter. Am I typing in the correct field? Yeah, so I was thinking that Laura was going to be helping with that. But okay.
I can just
Oh,
address that for you, Amy.
mhm.
we're asking that if you have a question, you do actually put it in the Q&A. And if you look at the bottom, you'll find the Q&A box there. And we do have one question already in there, and that's related to how to access funding. So someone already put that in the chat. So if you have a specific question, if you could put it in the Q&A, that would be great. We're going to try and answer it in real time. I'll pop on and remind Amy if there are questions because she's trying to talk and look at all this at the same time. If you put it in the chat, that's okay. We're going to look at it as well, but Q&A would be best. So you're in the chat right now. If you want to move over to the Q&A, perfect, but you're okay if you're in the chat too. So hopefully that answers it. Okay, Amy.
Just to add, sorry, picking up, if you want everyone to see what you have, you'll see when you do the chat, there's a drop-down menu. At the moment, it's probably defaulting to host and panelists, which means we can see it. If you drop down one to everyone, it means that everyone can see it. So you might just need to default to everyone, and hopefully that will get it so that you can share it with the whole group.
Yeah, thanks. I think somebody said that too, that they were only able to talk to panelists. You can also talk to each other if you go with everyone. Thanks,
Okay.
Caroline. Okay, I'm going off camera. Back to you, Amy.
Thanks. Let's see here. So I see a lot of funding questions there. Um, yeah, that is legitimate. So what I recommend to anybody is to have a full-time day job or at least part-time. Just be able to meet your needs financially before you start your business or as you're starting your business because it's sometimes people just decide to start a business and they think that the business is going to somehow magically support them the next month, and that doesn't happen. It just is it is not possible. I don't think. I mean, I've started 7 of them, and I've always had at least one full-time job at the same time. I've sometimes had, like a full-time job, a part-time job, and I've started 3 side businesses just to see what will make the most money. And then once that business starts making more money than the other ones, then I close out the smaller ones, and then I build the one that's actually becoming successful. So I don't always I mean, yes, I did decide to put everything in this pot right now, self-employment consulting, but before that I had a few other jobs, like four of them. So at the same time. So I just really recommend that. I also don't recommend going into a new business in debt. So if you can invest some of your save $100 a month at least or something like that and start investing in your business, apply for grants. It's that is the best thing. I was a loan officer at a bank, as I mentioned, and we never gave loans unless that person actually had invested a significant amount of money and time and effort themselves into the business already. So it's not, unless you have contracts in writing that someone is going to pay you this certain amount of money on an ongoing basis for 3 to 5 years, and here are the deliverables, and you just need a loan to, get the necessary equipment or something like that. I don't recommend immediately jumping into a loan. There's a lot of grants. I saw April's in Alaska. She's a counselor, but I saw a lot of, there's a mental health grant once or twice a year in Alaska that some of my clients apply for. So that's, I think that one is $10,000, but definitely apply for grants in your state because grants you don't have to pay back. The VR programs, most of them require some kind of working capital. The ones that I work with require some kind of working capital on your part that you've already saved and set aside. Working capital is how much money would it take every month just to keep going, just to break even? That's not even to pay you. So some states require 2 to 6 months of that just set aside that you have to provide proof of before they will help you with their voc rehab funding. Voc Rehab funding is not considered a grant. They are assisting you with your business. Most of them have the wording in their policies that they could actually, if you don't follow through with the business, if your business was feasible, the business plan got approved, and if you don't follow through, they can ask for everything back. So you don't usually get your case, until you get your case closed successfully, which means meeting your income goals that you set when you're working with myself or another business consultant or your counselor. If you say, hey, I'm going to make $5,000 a month, if you don't do that and it's getting close to a year or something, it depends on the state. Then they might, or you just give up or something happens with your health, they might ask for things back. So anyway, that's not considered a grant, but you wouldn't necessarily have to pay it back. So for a VR agency. So let's see. Oh, so yeah, there's a lot of fear of failure. Oh, Peter, can you put those in the Q&A, please? Because they keep popping up on my screen. But hi, Peter. So fear of failure is really, that's something I have still. And this is my second business that I've made over $1 million with. I still have fear of failure. Yes, the government cutbacks definitely affected my business. I have fear, I have fear of failure, and that's one way to ameliorate that is to do a feasibility assessment on your business, even if you do it yourself. So I just really recommend crunching the numbers. Am I paying myself at least minimum wage after I pay all of my business expenses and put a little bit in savings or reinvest it? Can I pay myself for my time at least minimum wage? So I don't believe in actually writing a business plan or doing marketing for business that's not going to be financially solvent, because I'm spending 20 hours making something that I'm charging $100 for instance. So I see someone in Vermont is like knitting. That's great. If you were to sell that, I hope you could knit fast because a lot of my crafters, like embroiders and crochet and knitting artists, they the time needed, they have to actually pay themselves for the time, so they need to really increase their prices. A lot of the artists, Native Americans, Alaska Natives that I work with, among others, are underpricing their goods. And that's one of the things that we do is we work on the pricing to ensure that they're making enough money, making enough profit. So let me see. Let's see. Nikki was there. Let me just look in the Q&A. Maintaining, okay, learning to offset income legally. Recouping startup costs, reducing liability. I feel that, well, reducing liability, I think that almost every small business owner needs to have business liability insurance, unless you're doing, a digital prints of your art and you're selling them on Etsy. Like maybe you don't need, or selling like a watercolor. Nobody's going to sue you probably for that watercolor falling off the wall in their house. So, but in many cases of the 250 people I work with a year, probably 240, I would recommend that have business liability insurance. So say your items were in your car, you were transporting them, like I used to do mobile massage. Because I have a business, if I got in a car accident, my car insurance isn't going to cover my business equipment, but my business insurance would. So it's good to have, renter's insurance. Probably not. So it's good. It's not hugely expensive unless you're doing something very dangerous. So let me see. Okay, so what were your businesses? Mine were, let's see, so software development, and then massage therapy, and I started a home health agency. So when I started it, what I did first was it was in Colorado, in Gunnison County. So I asked to go to the hospital and present to the nurses monthly meeting. So I did that. And then I asked them, what is the biggest need that you have? Because you have this list of 12 other providers of this service. I was actually going in and taking care of people with dementia in their homes and giving the caregivers respite. So overwhelmingly, the nurses said that they needed nights and weekends. So I just immediately, that was my business model, nights and weekends. I had a full-time day job and a teenager and a couple other side businesses, but I was immediately fully booked. So I also had a business helping natural foods, small natural foods businesses become registered with UNFI and have this national distribution of their goods. I also I moved back to Colorado after during the time that I was having all those surgeries, because it was less expensive to live in Colorado. And I needed to retrain myself away from massage therapy, where I was using my body, and I needed to learn how to use my brain instead. So I moved back to Colorado, took about 10 night classes, learned to like Google and social media marketing and how to make WordPress websites. So I also had a little marketing agency. I was making websites for myself and other people. Trying to think what else. The nonprofit was in Gunnison County, Colorado as well. It was a nonprofit. I partnered with public health in, let's see, we supported natural birth and breastfeeding. So I was quite passionate. I'm a former Lamaze teacher, doula, breastfeeding specialist. I think I've reinvented myself about 3 times so far this lifetime. And hey, I'm only 55, so I could reinvent myself a couple more times if I need it. But let me see.
I think that's actually a good point, Amy, because a
Yeah.
lot of businesses need to pivot because things
Mhm.
aren't always working out. And we do have a question in the chat around
Sure.
what is the most common reasons you've seen small businesses fail within the
Mhm.
first 2 years, especially for those first time entrepreneurs. So where are the pitfalls? Where are people really needing to be careful and things to really think about for
Okay.
success?
Sure. Thank you. That's a great question. So right now I'm right here in the little corner of my living room in my little 1-bedroom house in Oceanside, California, North San Diego. So that is one way that I'm keeping my expenses down. So keeping your expenses down as you start your business is super important. If I could have an office manager, I could have a scheduler, I could have someone making my invoices and making sure they get paid. I do have 3 part-time employees, an accountant and 2 people that proofread my reports. They do some of the research into the industries of my clients' businesses for me to put it into the report, but they're there as needed. And I do like 95% of my business by myself. So therefore, I get to keep almost all of the profits, right? So that is, yeah. So keeping your expenses low. I don't need an office. I don't need, any full-time employees. Employees are actually, I think the average cost is about 12% on top of whatever you pay your employees hourly to cover the workers' comp, unemployment, and matching state and federal withholding. So if you choose to have a W-2 employee, that's going to also cost quite a bit of money. Each state is different as far as regulations, but in general, if an employee is there on your premises using your equipment and they're there in a time that you want them to be, then they're a W-2 employee. So I've seen one of the roofers I was working with in Albuquerque just paid his guys cash. He got fined $5,000 per day. So that was huge, a huge wake up call for him. He should have been paying them, you know, as actually W-2 employees, but he was treating them as contract labor and paying cash. So he ended up, he's still running his business, but he had a lot to overcome financially. So did I answer that question, do you think, Nikki?
Yeah,
Or
I think so. You also brought up another point. You were saying keeping costs down, working from home, doing a lot of things yourself when you don't have to rely on hiring or paying someone else, which kind of leads us into that multiple hats that you were
oh
talking
yes,
about. So, do you want to kind of move into how do you wear those different hats and what that means and how it relates to your business?
sure. So this one, yes, I was trying to figure this out, and of course, because I have ADHD, I procrastinated until yesterday afternoon making the hats. I was thinking about it, but never actually did it. So, yeah, I was trying to show you what, and I'll probably use this for the pre-EDS programs that I work with, youth that are interested in entrepreneurship. But anyway, this is what we all want to do, right? So this hat represents, hey, I want to be here working with people, helping them start a business, helping them create the means to get themselves out of poverty and create a legacy for themselves and their family through entrepreneurship. So that's my service that I love to do. However, there's a lot of other things. So a lot of people, a lot of clients that I talk to, they don't want to do anything but this thing. So that's not realistic, because until you can afford to pay someone else after you paid yourself at least minimum wage for your time, hopefully a lot more, and then for your materials, your supplies, any monthly or annual ongoing costs. And then if you still have enough money left over, then you could pay someone to do the bookkeeping, for instance. But before that, you definitely have to wear all the hats yourself. So here is you and I, you in Vermont knitting, for instance, and then here I am providing my service. Here is the next one, which is saving money. Don't we all want to do that? So I'm going to be doing these. I have 6 two-sided crowns, so 12 different hats that I'm saying most entrepreneurs wear. So saving money. So I'm going in order of like, so on the header for this this webinar, it was like the good, the bad, and the ugly. So we're going to start with the good. So it's like number 1 was doing the thing that we love to do. Number 2, saving money. Who doesn't want to put money away for the future? By the way, you're as an entrepreneur, nobody's putting money into Social Security for you. They're not investing for you. They're not doing a 401k for you, matching or anything like that. It's up to you as the business owner to handle all that. So that's something that I didn't realize early on that I wish I had known sooner, is that I need to be my own savings partner. I do, the way that my business is structured, I am able to give myself a match. My business gives me a match, and I actually invest in a retirement account. But anyway, that would be for you to talk to your accountant about. So that's savings. Okay, so we're still in the good.
Can I just jump
Oh,
in there before you
sure.
move on to the next
Yes,
hat?
please.
A lot of folks will kind of feel like, yes, but I don't have enough income to really set aside and save, a lot of money that's needed. And a lot of people have been putting that one of their fears or their concerns or their barriers is that funding piece. So can you talk a little bit about what if I don't have my own money to invest or I don't have savings? Where can I find some other money? Or there ideas that you have that you've known other businesses perhaps that you've supported have been able to find some startup funding?
Right. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. I do have a resource um sheet that I made up that somebody could put it in the chat or put it into the webinar recording. So I've made a list of a bunch of resources for visually impaired entrepreneurs, disabled business owners, funding and grants through Disability Opportunity Fund. There's always local ones in your state and probably county as well. So that's money that you wouldn't need to pay back. Like a small business administration loan is it's a loan. Like you have to prove with the profit that you're making that you can actually pay them back. So anyway, otherwise, I'm going to reiterate, save some money yourself. Like if you're on SSI or SSDI, you want to start a very small business. So that's my specialty is, I guess, small to medium business assistance. But you're not going to want to start a business if you don't have any money of your own with, have a big dream. Start small. That's how I always did. So I started in Colorado with this business. About 9 months later, I loved it so much that I just reached out to New Mexico and they wanted my services. So I've expanded, but starting small and making sure that you can make a profit, investing the little bit of money that you have, getting assistance from friends. But I would say try not to get a big loan or have too big of an idea where you can't handle and wear all the hats yourself. So, Nikki, do you think that covered it? Let's see. So
Sorry,
let's
I
see.
put myself
Oh,
back on mute and
that's
I
okay.
couldn't. And I did want to mention, Laura just put that resource list of yours in the
Oh,
chat
good.
so
Okay.
folks can grab that because yes, funding is always a big issue. And also, if you are not signed up for our NDI monthly newsletter, we can put that link in the chat too, because we often send out information on grants and loans and different places that you can access funding. So that might be helpful as well. So sorry about that, Amy. What's your next
Yeah.
hat? Let's have a look.
Okay, so I think it's scheduling. So this is we're still in the happy time, like fun, this entrepreneurship stuff is good. Scheduling, yes. So scheduling, like if you're a barber, cosmetologist, when I was a massage therapist, as the person paid, you'd want them, hey, would you like to book your next appointment? So that's great for ongoing revenue, like knowing that, like when I get my nails done, I'll be back in 2 weeks, or with my hair or something. So scheduling is something that we have to do ourselves. If we might use a booking app, but we still have to keep track of it and include it in our schedule. One of the things that I am very adamant about is being on time or a little bit early. So any of you that have worked with me, I have a task list, and I rate it from green to yellow to red and to deep blood red, which means that maybe you didn't show up for our appointment. So we want to keep it green. That's professional. So when you're thinking about scheduling, are you booking enough time in between your appointments to give yourself, can I have a bite to eat or use the restroom or do what I need to do? And am I sure that I'm going to be able to be on time and there for my customers? So that's one. So scheduling, we're still in the happy entrepreneur good part. Here's customer communication. So this one, it can be good and it can be challenging. One of the things that I did when I was a massage therapist is that I texted people the next day to see, hey, Joe, how's your shoulder feeling today? Because I specialized in medical massage, so I worked on people who had a bunch of pain. So, and I actually really enjoyed getting sciatic pain myself because then I knew how to get rid of it for my clients and I knew what it felt like, for instance. So I try to look at my physical challenges as a way for me to understand what other people are going through as well. So anyway, back to customer communication. So generally, if you're running a business, you are on 7 days a week. Don't think that you're going to start a business and then, because you want some free time, because that's not going to happen. That's not realistic. Maybe after 5 or more years, you will have weekends off or, be able to get a full day to yourself without even thinking about your business. But in general, no. So even on weekends, if you are not having appointments, you're still messaging back and forth with customers, texting. It's a good practice to respond within 24 hours. So if someone reaches out to you, I would respond within 24 hours to their phone call, text, email, even on weekends, if you possibly can. So I know a lot of you are counselors or people who just work during the week. That's great. That's competitive employment. But as an entrepreneur, I work 7 days a week. I don't sit here at my desk and work. So I go do fun things and I come back and have a meeting. And so it's not like I'm chained to my desk, but I'm definitely doing a lot of customer communication. In fact, that's probably the biggest part of my day is non-billable hours spent talking to counselors, doing my free 30-minute chats with potential clients, things like that. So customer communication is still important. It's really important as far as, and we'll go into a little bit more legalities, but contracts. So I believe, I think Brene Brown, one of her books I read, clear is kind and unclear is unkind. So if you are clear with the customer, with your contract, with your verbiage on your website, I have a bladesmith in New Mexico. He has everything. Like if he ships a blade to you, because he makes them, he does commission knives. So you design it together, he makes it, he sends it to you. He gives you care instructions, and then that if you break it, you can pay him to fix it. But here is, it's really important to be very clear with your customers. Hey, I need a deposit up front, or, and I'll do this for you and you'll do this for me with payment. So the customer communication is extremely important because, as we all know, there's online reviews. They may not tell you something to your face or over the phone, but they might do a 1-star Google review or Yelp, which can really damage your business. So let's see.
Okay. Can I also jump in again around customers? So we've had a few questions around how does someone know that what their idea is going to be appealing to a customer in the first place? So that's fantastic information if we've already got customers, but how do we get those customers? How do we determine if what we have to offer is needed and wanted?
That's a great question. So this is marketing. So that's part of it. Marketing, there's inside sales and outside sales. Personally, I will do outside sales if I have to, if I really believe in it. I've called deputy directors of different VR agencies and said, hey, do you need me? Because I'm so passionate about what I do. Otherwise, I don't want to go walk around and try to sell a website to a stranger, which is what I've done before. And then I just say, oh, you don't want one? Okay, and walk away. Inside sales are when they're already coming to you. Say you have a booth at a local crafts market or Sunday market or something in your community. That's kind of like inside sales as far as they're already there. They're expecting to see some food and some artwork, some handmade things. So those people could be a target market. So trying to figure out with your friends, your family, anybody around you, your coworkers, hey, do you like this? The most successful, so this is really a really important point. I've worked with at least 1,500 disabled entrepreneurs since I started doing this work in the past 9 years. And I would say the most financially successful ones they were already making pies and selling them. They were already making bracelets or providing a service hosting baby showers that they didn't charge for initially, but everybody wanted it. And then people started paying them. So already being able to do what you are selling is essential to your success. Otherwise, it's an idea or speculative. So, yeah, I would say, let me see. Now I got kind of lost with that question, Nikki. Sorry.
No, that's fine. I mean, I think you covered it. I mean, knowing that you need to do your market research. I love what you
Yep.
said about friends, family. I mean, if you are
Mhm.
doing baking or like somebody in the chat was knitting or crocheting or whatever,
Mhm.
obviously going out there and finding out, you know, is someone actually going to pay you money for this? Can you make it though? Also, the other
Mhm.
piece of this, and there was another question about this, is the pricing factor. You know, how much does it cost you to make it versus how much you can
Mhm.
sell it for? So I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Sure.
I think it was actually the person that was knitting or crocheting. I apologize. I can't remember which one you were doing. But you know, the cost of yarn is expensive and her time or his time. So what would you say about that?
I would say, well, I mean, one of my greatest joys in life are spreadsheets now. I don't actually make them. I have a CPA who I just say, hey, Bill, this is what I want. And he builds it for me and then we improve it. We constantly improve it. So I have a private YouTube channel for my clients with tutorials for those spreadsheets. But I'm always trying to improve them. So breaking down the numbers, like for a knitted blanket, yeah, how many, what do you call them, reams of yarn? I can't remember how you do it. Balls of yarn. Do you need thread? How much time? Um, and then is there a profit? So I use spreadsheets to that show me after all the expenses are put in and the time, how much I'm making per hour. So if you're involved with a voc rehab agency, your counselor will have a profit and loss. I mean, like an income and expense spreadsheet, or you can look on Google for one. But that is one of the things that I enjoy in the classes that I teach. I teach like a 3-week group class, just introduction to self-employment. And my clients get to see for themselves because they put in all the numbers like, oh, I'm making negative $4 an hour or $4 an hour. This is a hobby and my voc rehab agency can't support it because you have to be making a competitive wage or minimum wage in at least the states that I'm working for. Oh, actually, one of them, Washington State, you just have to break even. But yeah, anyway, knowing that, so choosing, um, I guess finding a niche is the most important thing. Like, what can you offer that nobody else is? Because some of the states I work with, I might be the only one providing the service. That's a niche. That means that I have kind of a captive audience, or right now they can only pick me. I mean, I like to have competition as well. So some states I've actually been asked to introduce some competition so that my clients can have informed choice. I enjoy it because it's just going to make me better at what I do. It's going to make me work harder and try to stay on top of my game. So I enjoy that. Okay, so we have
So that
marketing. Oh, go
sorry,
ahead.
so that kind of begs another question
Mhm.
is how do you know who else does what? I mean, how do you find out? So you said in one area you're the only person, you're the only game in town, as it were. Um, so A, we have to find out, does a customer even want what we're producing, right? But B is
Mhm.
like, what is my competition? Who else is out there and how much are they charging? How do we go about doing that?
Research. So, I mean, I can go to the decision maker for a state agency. I can do, my clients do, I require them to survey 10 competitors for, say, one shrimp taco plate that has 3 shrimp tacos on it. If you're say, a food truck owner, they have to find 10 restaurant owners or food truck owners offering shrimp tacos, a plate of 3. How much are they charging? So even if So the spreadsheet that I use for competition, like to survey the competition, also gives us a breakdown of the average pricing for that one shrimp plate to see if my client is charging too much, too little, just right. They're doing research, a deep dive into the marketing that other company is doing. They're looking at their website, they're doing a Google search with the business name, city, and state to see, oh, they're on Google Maps, or oh my gosh, they have to pay for Google Ads. So I would say a quick tip is if you look up a competitor of yours and you see sponsored or promotion on a Google search on more than one or two of your 10 competitors, you have to find something a little bit different, because that means if they're paying for Google Ads, that means that it's a really competitive field. So if you're the only one doing dog walking in your neighborhood, great. Otherwise, if you have a lot of competition, then you would say, well, I want to do like dog hikes, like dog, groups of dogs that I take hiking, or some special thing that nobody else is doing. So that's how I've gotten business. Like with the nurses, they said we need overnights and weekends. That was my niche. Even though I didn't enjoy staying up all night, that's what they needed. I needed money, so that's what I did. Being an entrepreneur, you have to be able to redirect yourself. So if your initial idea isn't feasible, you need to be able to redirect. Don't give up, but redirect towards something that's also your passions, skills, and interests that aligns with those. It's been shown that you're much more likely to stay in the business if you're actually passionate about it, like I am, because you're going to be putting all your time, your effort. You're going to do research. It's going to feel fun. So anyway, did that answer it, Nikki?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay.
I think folks sometimes don't know. And that thing you said about Google and how you determine whether or not there's a lot of competition, that's a great tip. I didn't know that. So that's really, really helpful. Have you seen, and this is another question, have you seen sort of a specific industry that tends to be more successful? So someone's asking what self-employment business tends to be most successful that you've seen, but maybe is there an industry sector or something that you have seen has been more successful than others?
Trying to think out of all the businesses I work with. So service businesses like HVAC, plumber, electrician, welding, everybody needs those. I have a nurse practitioner. Everybody needs to have good health, right? So the artists that I work with, I love working with artists. I am an artist. I wouldn't try to support myself selling my work, but I work with a lot of talented artists. If you go to and this is part of the marketing, so that's kind of like inside sales. If you put yourself out there and you go to the same Saturday market for 6 months, you're going to get way more business than if you just post your stuff on Etsy and you're competing with 100,000 other artists who have their similar art on Etsy. Some of them, it might be just a hobby and they don't actually need to make a living from it. That's what I found. I thought I could sell my portraits of pets on Etsy. No. Someone else is selling them for 50 and I wanted to get like 1,000. So nope. I redirected. So so I'm trying to think. The marketing part. So the reason I have this magnet right here, and then people are coming to it, marketing is different from sales. Marketing is putting it out there and hoping people come to you, right? It could be a bus ad, like where you're driving by and it's on a bus stop. It could be radio and TV. That's kind of out of our league as a very small business owner. But it could be a local, weekly newspaper that everybody in your community reads. And you're hoping to connect with customers that way. I'm trying to think. So the artists that are in contact with a person in front of them, that person, like the only gifts I buy are from artists, co-ops, or artists, because I believe in supporting them. But I go away feeling like I have a little piece of them because they told me a little story about how they made it, and then they gave me their card with their Instagram and their website, and then I'm able to buy more or refer people back to them. Don't think you can go to one market and then all of a sudden get this following. But you will make so much more money if you're there in person meeting your customers. So that's marketing. Many different ways to market. We could have a whole, I think NDI is going to have another webinar about marketing. Let's see. So the other one is sales. So what is sales? Sales is actually, does anybody know the difference between marketing and sales, or can you tell us? Nikki, can you look at the chat?
Ah, I'm not seeing any answers quite yet to that
Okay.
question, but
Yeah, so
no one's furiously
okay.
typing yet, so it probably
Okay.
sounds like something you should explain.
Okay. So marketing is putting it out there and hoping people see it and come to you and buy your things. Oh yeah, Cheyenne says marketing is an attempt. Yes, you're right. Sales is when you actually have the customer in front of you or on the phone and you are closing the deal. So I actually, when I moved from San Diego to back to Colorado, I became a DVR client in Colorado. So I found myself a job at a marketing agency, but I needed a sales training. So DVR and the workforce agency there, they helped me by paying for that. So then I kind of use it on them. So sorry guys, but I'm using it on you. Sales is closing the deal, like saying, hey, you're here in front of my stand at the market. If you buy 3 items, I'll give you this free mug, or I'll give you a 10% discount on the whole thing. You want to close a deal and get the money, right? So you might be writing a proposal for the services that you're doing, and until they've signed on the dotted line, um, it's not a sure thing. So you want to do everything in your power to close a deal, but that starts with asking questions like, what do you want? And that's a good thing for the people who are wondering, how do I make something that other people want? Excuse me, finding a need for something. Like when I saw those Strider bikes and my grandchildren are riding, I'm like, why didn't anybody think about that? Little toddlers who were on these little training wheels. I mean, there was a need for it, but none of us knew it. Someone came up with those. I mean, unusual things. So think about what you can offer that is not currently being done. Not the influencers, not the so least likely would be like influencer, people paying money to watch you play video games in the middle of the night, and doing something that everybody's been doing for years, which is, doing the Cricut things, like developing the vinyl mugs and everything. People have been doing that for so many years. There's a whole, when I went to get the craft supplies from, I think it was Michael's, there's a whole aisles of stuff there. So if you come up with that idea, well, there's already probably like 1,000 people in your community doing it. So you're trying to think of something new. Okay, from Leah, it was something new but useful. Yeah, exactly. So and you can ask people around you. You can start making them in different colors and shapes and sizes and try selling them. Try giving them for gifts and then seeing what the response is. Yeah, be an inventor, innovator from Victoria. Yeah, so yeah, or finding a need and realizing that you can meet it. Like everything in my life allowed me to come in and step into my role. Like all of my own experiences helped me do this. So sales, I guess the top things that I learned from that training was to ask questions first before I go into my spiel about here's what I can offer you. Was to ask questions like, what are you looking for? Let's see if we're a good fit. So that I use a lot now because I can back out and say, you know what, I don't think we're a good fit. I'm going to refer you to my friend so and so, because I don't think we're a good fit. Whether you just get a bad vibe or they want something that you're not qualified to do. So deciding yourself if it'd be a good fit, or if you'd be overextending yourself and exacerbating your disabilities, which you don't want to do. Your VR counselors don't want you to do that either. So you can decide if it's not a good fit for you, but that goes back to customer communication. And then they can decide if it's not a good fit. So yeah, so sales is closing the deal. Oh, sales technique I use is a free 30-minute consultation. So I offer that for the voc rehab agencies that I work with. For any interested clients, let's just talk about it for 30 minutes. I'll make notes and I'll give you recommendations for next steps. Like you haven't written the book yet, but you want a career as an author. Well, it's speculative. It's just an idea. So not yet, not until you've had some sales or have an agent or have some solid contracts signed. As far as industries, let me go back to that question. I mean, storage units make a lot of money if you have the money to buy the land. Hardly anybody does. In that case, you might need a loan, but also put a bunch of your money in. I mean, yeah, service people like the traditional welders and electricians, also barbers, cosmetologists, nails, hair extensions, like anything that needs regular maintenance, like housekeeping. That's not usually a one-off thing. It's a regular thing that you can schedule and put yourself on the schedule. You have to be early or on time for everything and give 100%. With my 12-year-long massage therapy business, I did not advertise at all. All I did was give 110% every client every time. It was all word of mouth referrals. Those are so valuable. So when you're looking at your competition, go in there on Etsy or Google, read the reviews, read what the customers liked, what they didn't like. You're going to learn about what you can. Oh, I'm going to avoid that. But they really liked how it was packaged and shipped so fast. How can I do that when I'm selling my product and shipping it? Those are just examples. But let's see.
That's good. I'm gonna jump in with a couple more questions.
Sure.
So, you've talked quite a lot about your market research, about looking at what other people are doing. One of the questions, though, is about kind of backing up a little bit. If I've got the idea, how do I start? So some people are saying, so one of the questions is some people are telling me I should start with a business plan. Other people say, no, you should not start with a business plan. So, and you're shaking your head, no, you shouldn't start with a business plan. So, let's talk about where should you start? And then also one of the other things is I think you've got some sort of top 10 ideas about
Yes.
viability, which might sort of go into that. But how about, yeah, where do we start? If it's not a business plan, what is it?
It's a feasibility assessment. You can do it yourself. You can do it through the Small Business Development Center or with a SCORE mentor. They provide those for free. And they're on the resource list, the links to their organizations. I do have a document. It's the top 10 questions to ask anyone interested in self-employment. So this is from my friend Jim O'Brien in Washington State. I asked him for permission. I gave him credit, but this is what he gives his counselors to talk about with anybody who's interested in self-employment. The reasons why they do it. Have you been self-employed before? Why will customers want what you're selling? Yeah, why will they? If they can find it in other colors and styles or the exact same thing, why would they buy from you? Is it unique enough? Are your income goals reasonable? So yeah, there's a whole bunch of things, but yeah, I think somebody's going to put that in the chat or as a resource.
Yeah, there's a link to it already in the chat. So you mentioned feasibility. So can you
Yes.
just give a little bit more detail about what that is?
Sure. So I had gave a free 30-minute talk yesterday to a potential client who she's written business plans for work before. She's been paid to teach business plan creation to people before. She did not understand why her folk rehab counselor wanted her to get a feasibility assessment for her business. So I just told her that. So I always start with financials. Well, number one, do people want it? Can I make it? I had a client who's like, hey, I saw a couple TikTok videos on freeze drying candy. I want my voc rehab agency to give me $7,000 for a machine. And so we started the feasibility process. She'd never done it. She didn't have a machine. She just saw a couple videos on TikTok. That's not that's not enough. Especially if you're asking a voc rehab agency for $7,000 and for a machine that you don't know how to use and your business may not be feasible. So that's all of our taxpayer money, right? So the feasibility assessment, I start with financials because I feel like there's no point in making a marketing plan if it's not going to be feasible. So if we break down, hey, here are 5 or 10 products that you're offering or services. Here's the cost of goods sold, which is your expenses at like supplies and things that you need to make them with. Here's your monthly and ongoing costs subtracted from what we say your sales are going to be. And you're making less than minimum wage. It's not feasible. There's a couple things we could do, which is raise your prices if your competitive survey supports that. We could try to lower the expenses, like find yarn that costs less, for instance, to lower that. But you don't want to be making just minimum wage either. You want to hopefully make more than that. But if the numbers don't look good and there's nothing that we could change, I suggest to my clients, let's redirect towards something else that you have experience with. And it's also in your passion, skills, and interests. So if you have not managed a business before, all of the things like inventory management, this hat. If you've worked for a restaurant, but you've been a food server, busser, host, but you haven't actually developed a menu, done hiring and firing, ordered all of the meat and everything from the distributors, it's not going to be feasible for you to start a food truck because you don't have that experience. In that case, I would recommend to the counselor and that client that the person work full-time in a restaurant and work their way up until they're managing all those things, until they are the manager for a couple years at least. So they're getting paid to learn because it's a competitive employment and it's W-2 employment, so they're getting paid to learn and they have the benefits of being an employee. So the reason why a counselor asks their customer to go through a feasibility assessment is because they're protecting them. That's not what my clients want to hear usually, but it is risky to go into self-employment. You can go bankrupt, you can lose your savings, your credit score can tank. You're going to want to make sure that you have filed your taxes and paid any money that's owed to the IRS before you would go into self-employment, especially with the VR agency, because the same pot of money that's going to help with startup is actually like if you haven't paid your taxes or if you haven't filed your taxes because you're afraid you'll owe, then you wouldn't be able to go forward with self-employment with voc rehab. So until you're in good standing with the IRS, we wouldn't be able to go forward. But anyway,
I'm gonna jump in again because we have a tax question.
Yes.
Somebody is asking, do you have to separate your taxes? And I'm thinking that means between personal and business, and of course that depends. And I know this is not a tax webinar, and we will be having one of those, but if you want to just quickly address when you might have to separate.
My accountant does them, not my employee who's the accountant that helps me with the spreadsheets, but I have a CPA. She does my personal and business, a Schedule C. It costs about an average of, I'd say, $400 for a CPA to find all those deductions for you, take in your income and expenses, your mileage that you've driven for your business, and then do your taxes. So it usually is something that they would do together, because you as the business owner are getting the money from your business or losing the money. I do, my last hat actually has to do with taxes. So sales tax and other taxes. So let me just move on really quick because we don't have that much time left. So inventory management. Do you own a hair salon? Do you need to order supplies? You know, inventory management. This is a hat that you would have to wear. I don't usually have to deal with that because I'm providing a service. Let's see, employee management. We're kind of going, so the good, the bad, the ugly, we're heading towards, you know, the bad-ish. Employee management is difficult. I was trying to find an image that was like herding cats, but I couldn't find one. But excuse me, employee management, even if they're contract labor and they're using their own equipment, you're paying their business, they're doing it on their own time. Even contract labor, are they going to show up? You book the gig, they go do the DJ thing because you're busy at another event or something. You have to make sure they show up. You're still the one signing the contract. So even if they're contract labor or W-2 employees, it's still your responsibility. If they don't show up, you have to show up in their place. So as a business owner, you have to make sure that everything is safe, that everybody has their certifications and licenses and insurance. Say if you own a salon, everybody in there needs to have their own insurance. They have to have their certification, licenses, and be legal in your salon if you are the establishment owner. So let me see, what do we have here? So let's see, employee management. Then we're going down, sliding down. There's just a couple more hats. So bookkeeping and accounting. That's not something everybody loves to do. I do it because it's relaxing for me to reconcile bank statements. It's one of the least difficult things that I do, but until your business can support paying you a competitive wage and all of your business expenses, you have to do it yourself. There's all kinds of free resources, SBDC. I give my clients a profit and loss spreadsheet to use. But it doesn't work. Just like if you're driving in another state than where you're licensed and you don't know a certain rule, hey, if you're driving there, the cop pulls you over, it's your responsibility. Same with taxes and other things for your business. You didn't renew your business license, it's not in good standing, that's on you. You as the business owner. So this is often kind of sliding towards the bad and the ugly with my clients. This is, okay, legal obligations. So I'm trying to think. Most of my clients are able to find a contract, or I often have sample contracts that fulfill the needs that they have. If it's something, a very valuable service, I'm thinking of one of my clients in Colorado has a service that she charges like $60,000 for. Yes, she paid an attorney to write the contract or read through the contract that she wrote. So, and I also have attorneys for clients as well, and they still have to have their contracts and the legal obligations. So legal obligations also mean keeping up with your employees, everything that you have to do for them legally. Also your own business licensing, LLC, sole proprietor. Maybe you have to file your taxes quarterly or monthly, sales tax, things like that. Let me see what else I have over here. Oh, we're down to the last two. So we've been heading downhill into the ugly, but facilities management, here we are. You know, you own that establishment, the barber or like some salon or something. You still have to maintain everything. You were responsible for cleaning it, making sure everything is stocked. If you have, say, a space that you're renting to other therapists, and it's your job to make sure that there's toilet paper and soap, bathrooms clean. So facilities management is something that people don't usually think of when they think of starting their own business where they have a facility. Okay, so we're down to number 12, which is the ugly, like taxes. So income tax, so sales tax is not income or an expense. It's passing through with you. So I work with New Mexico. They charge sales tax on products and services. So when I provide a service in New Mexico virtually, I still have to pay their sales tax. So that's part of doing business, and you have to ask questions and communicate. So it's not income for me or an expense. It's just passing through. I collect it, and then I pay it to the state of New Mexico. You might be in a state like Colorado where you pay, once a month or once quarterly to the state, and then they distribute it to the different counties and cities that you worked in. So they might handle that. Taxes in general, income tax. So income tax would be the money that is left over after you, as the business owner, paid for everything else. That's your income, and that's going to be on your personal tax returns. So your business can have a tax return, but as a sole proprietor or sole member of an LLC, you are getting the extra money, and therefore it's going to be on your personal taxes. So I have clients that don't understand the sales tax and then the income tax. I was just trying to think about the other tax. What was that other tax question, Nikki?
I think it was like separating your personal from your business taxes. But I
Yeah.
did want to also say, I've just put the mailing list link back in the chat. We've got some tax specific webinars coming up. We've got some business structure type information coming up with actual like IRS or tax experts. So sign up for that because then you're going to sort of really get those much more detailed questions answered as well, because people are asking about sales tax and tax seems to be a big thing. So I would definitely refer to what other things we have coming up. Or you can always reach out to us as well. You have a lot of hats on your head.
Yeah. So as a potential entrepreneur, are you ready to wear all the hats yourself? Because your counselor's not going to be there, unless they're a partner in the business. Nobody's going to be there like 24/7 like you are. So you'll need to wear all the hats, right? I remember what I was going to say about taxes. So if you are self-employed and you have net revenue, so there's income, gross revenue, gross income, which is the money people give you, then you deduct your expenses, your supplies, everything, and then your net revenue is what you have left. That goes to your personal taxes. But if you make $400 in net revenue, you have to file and pay self-employment taxes with the IRS. If the IRS delineates between hobby versus business, if you have a hobby, you have to report all of your income to the IRS and then pay self-employment tax if it's $400 or more. So all of that income still needs to be reported. So with the hobby, if you're not making at least minimum wage, if you're a counselor or if you have a feasibility assessment done and it's determined that it's not paying you competitive wage, you're not able to go through with it, you still have to pay taxes on it. So it's actually having a business, how the IRS designates business versus hobby is the amount of effort you're putting into it. If it's something for fun, like, an art project that's taking a long time, but you really love it, you're scrapbooking, that would be a hobby. Um, so you have to pay taxes on your income from selling things that you consider your hobby, but you cannot write off deductions as you can if you're self-employed, if you're designated as self-employed. So self-employed, at least you can write off the deductions. Voc Rehab can't support the business if it is a hobby, but I just wanted to kind of cover that. So what other questions do people have? Because we have 8 minutes left.
Yeah. One person's asking about a copy of the
Oops, sorry.
recording. We always do that. We post it on our website. All of the information and the links and the resources will also be there. Um, there was something I was just trying to go through some of these things. Do you have would you, I mean, this is kind of subject, I don't know if there's sort of a recommended amount, but someone's asking, like, what do you think the minimum financial runway you would recommend before leaving your traditional employment to start a business? I would guess it depends on what your expenses are, but I mean, is there sort of a formula for that?
I would say if you're meeting your needs with your day job and your self-employment gig that you've been slowly growing over time meets that or exceeds that, that's the time to give your 1 month notice, 2 month notice, continue to sell and try to get that self-employment income up. But it doesn't make sense for you to start the business when you're only making half of what your day job pays. You're not going to immediately come up with that extra income. That's one of the reasons. So going back to that question of like, why do a lot of businesses fail? They just have these expectations like, hey, I'm here, I have this, I haven't broken down the numbers, but I know everybody's going to love it. But they don't know that there's so many other people doing the same thing. So if there's so many other people doing the same thing, what are you going to do to market and sell it so that you can capture part of the market? I do have a lot of clients that say, you know what, I think I want to work for myself because I don't really get along with my employers or I don't really like people. Well, guess what? I have 300 bosses. I'm self-employed. All of the counselors that I work with in the different states, there's at least 300 of them. They're all my boss. I have to give them what they need, what they want. I have to communicate with them. I have to make them happy. So it's not true that you can just work from home. Whoever's paying you is going to be your boss, whether it's just contract computer work or something like that. You're still accountable. You still have to be able to have the skills to get along with them and meet their needs. So,
Okay, we had
yeah.
another question, and somebody had specifically said, please, can you answer my question? But I'm not sure which question they were referring to. It might be this one. Do you have any tips for finding the best business consultant match to work with to navigate business plan development? Um, Seems like I think they're saying it's a unique niche. Um, it looks like they may be working with California VR. And
Okay.
so what's a tip to find the best business consultant to work with for a business plan?
I would say, I mean, they probably have a list of vendors. The Small Business Development Center, they're in every city. You can go in there and someone can help you do the market research. They don't do like a full encompassing feasibility assessment, which I 100% recommend before you go into business planning. You can write a 100-page business plan that I would look at and say, there's no financials there. Where's the proof this person's done it? Have they owned and managed a business before? Do they have enough energy? And do their disabilities allow them to succeed at this business? So a business plan is not it's necessary in order to get funding, but it's not definitely not the first step. But yeah, I used to work with California DOR. I was a client of theirs. So yeah, I'm sure your counselor has a list of business consultants. So, yep.
Okay, great. We've only got 3 minutes, so I think I better turn it back to Laura. I just do want to remind you that we are here, we are available. Please get a hold of us. We have a lot of expertise, a lot of webinars, a lot of folks that are able to answer some of your questions. Um, yeah, maybe different questions to what we've had today or what Amy's been addressing. So please connect with us. And I think we probably have a slide on our contact. But anyway, Laura or Caroline, back over to you with the satisfaction survey, unless I'm
Oh, and
supposed
I
to
had one
talk
more
about.
thing. One more.
Yes.
So I have a work. Well, it's an informational document about successful entrepreneur characteristics. I think they can put that in the chat. So it's something I give the clients that take my group classes. So it's just saying, are you driven and competitive? Are you passionate? Are you determined and never give up? Are you willing to research? So it's got a bunch of characteristics that you can look at and see how many of these are like, honestly, look at yourself. How many of these fit me? How many of these don't? And what can I do to improve the ones that are not a good, I don't feel capable of right now, like marketing or something like that.
Okay,
So that was
that's
my
in the
last thing.
chat. That is in the chat as
Okay,
well.
great. Thank you.
And you can, go there now, or you'll get that in the link to the can't speak the link to the to watching it again. Anyway, please complete the satisfaction survey. When it's going to appear automatically, or
Ooh,
you can access it here via the QR code. Or follow-up email that we're going to be sending out. We really appreciate the feedback because we're always looking for new things that we can be responsive to what you really want to hear and what you really want to know, what kind of experts we can bring in. So please let us know. And do we have a slide with our contact? Yes, there you go. Okay. All right. So here is how to contact us. Again, you can get a hold of us through the website, sign up for our monthly webinars, any of those sorts of things. But here are our emails. And with that, we are at time. Amy, thank
yeah.
you so,
So
so much.
it's showing in the chat that the QR code wasn't, it was for events last year and it wasn't for this event, or somehow this event wasn't listed on the materials we
Okay, well,
supplied.
that is on us.
I
So,
believe, yeah, I was going to say it's going to be the same survey, so we'll make sure that it has this one on, but the code is used the same for every session.
Okay. Thank you.
all right. Okay. Well, they're going to change it right now, so you can still use that QR code and it will direct to this one. But thank you for that information. Thank you for all your information. And if you need any more information, get a hold of us and we're happy to help. Thank you so much.